As a Naga, we are all very proud of to be a Naga. No? We love our culture, we love our Naga food, we love our Nagaland, and I'm quite sure we want the best of the Naga story to be heard to the world. But very unfortunately, today we have a situation while looking into the present reality. Often we think, what are we proud for? I often think like that, and I'm sure many of you do the same. The general conversation or the daily news that we come across, or the popular narrative centers around very negative discourses like corruption, like transparency, like no proper roads, no proper medical facilities, no basic amenities, a lot of misinformation, disinformation, corruption, underdevelopment, and so on. When we talk about transparency, it's all about public life. Transparency is generally accepted as a fundamental foundation of good governance. In any democracy, the government is obligated to its citizens to be open, accountable, and efficient. And that includes providing the accurate information at the right time. Citizens must see through what is happening in the governing systems. What the officials, the politicians and policy makers are transacting for the public, for the state. Everything must be transparent. Transparency resonates democracy, in fact, promoting openness, inclusiveness, fairness, accountability, and it builds relationship between government and the citizens. So therefore, transparency is a must in any government. Just looking into the Vision Nagaland 2001 and 2011 with a theme towards positive change. It talks about accountability, efficient, transparency in the government. Another Nagaland vision, which was done in 2012 to 25, the Vision 2025, with the theme prosperity through agriculture. It talks about food for all, surplus food for food production by the end of 2025. I'm waiting to see some miracle by next year to have surplus food in the state. Nagaland State Human Development Report 2016 emphasized on ensuring transparency in administration and decision making, increasing efficiency and effectiveness in delivering basic services in the state down the district level. So looking into all this purportedly some of the fundamental policies that matters to the state of Nagaland, under which the government will run the state, taking the people along to keep pace with the other progressive society. Apart from the above mentioned policies that we have in hand in the level of the state, for refreshing our memory, I want to bring back some of the things that we have come across, some of the very prominent slogans that some politicians have promised to us, to the citizens, like New Nagaland, change is coming. So those are some of the things they have promised to us. However, the reality in Nagaland is quite different. Not only does the state continue to suffer from the dependency syndrome, because we are more or less dependent on the center, Nagaland also is facing a new trend where have and have-nots is becoming very distinct in the society. If we are the resource maker, resource builders, there is probability of having have and have-nots. But on the others' resources, we are having a very distinct division between have and have-nots. This is the new emerging trends. The few manipulated group who control the resources and the marginalized lot. So this is something very serious hanging in our future. Being an underdeveloped central independent state, we know Nagaland receives a lot of budget from the center. Out of this, about 1/3 will go straight away for salaries. Another very interesting report that I've just come across recently, it says a survey report by Singapore Media Corps, and it is a project on the obsession of government job in India, where they made a mention that the least developed state in India, like Bihar and Nagaland, they have used specifically Bihar and Nagaland, where the youngsters at the age of 20 and 24 does not use their potential for any productivity, either in workforce or industry or entrepreneurship, because they are investing their prime time preparing for competitive exams to get a job in the government sector. So this is very concerning to us. India ranks 93rd position out of 180 countries in the global transparency index. That is according to 2023. Within India, Nagaland could score only 19.2, placing itself in the second worst state among the Indian states as far as the transparency index is concerned. This is 2019 report. And Niti Aayog report says, Niti Aayog Sustainable Development Goals 2023 and 24 report indicate Nagaland is the third worst performing state in India, in the worst performing state in the northeastern region. Apart from this, Nagaland holds the distinction of having the second highest unemployed youth in the country. So these are not very encouraging for us. And these are all very closely related to today's topic, transparency and accountability. Besides all these reprehensible records, the news items that fill the front pages of most of the local dailies are often not to the taste of the readers, for the reason that many of such news headlines are appearing for the wrong reasons. It has been a regular practice in the state that every year large number of backdoor or political appointment continue to take place, whether students are shouting, unemployed youth are shouting or not. It has become normalized in the Naga society today. Just the recent High Court decision of quashing the appointment of some 1,108 police constable in many in the higher post is just one of the instances. Further, looking into some of the major projects, we talk about High Court complex, talk about the one in the only cricket stadium in Dimapur, talking about Dimapur Stadium, Nagaland Express highways that goes between Kohima and Dimapur, rural housing schemes. In going by the CAG report on Nagaland developmental scams, it is not wrong to say that what we are having within development are basically disastrous development. It further says that Nagaland has no law practically. We do not come across anyone being booked for committing scams. This is unfortunately the report from CAG. So one wonders what led to all this colossal mess in the Christian state of Nagaland. Once a very prominent writer, a foreigner who often writes about Naga politics, commented on Nagaland politics that Nagaland politics is not a politics of ideology, neither meritocracy. It is a politics of primordial affiliated to clans, village, and tribe. And it would not be wrong to say the state politics that we have in Nagaland is a politics of money and manipulation. Today we have oppositionless government in the state, which only proves that the state is devoid of any effective mechanism to check their actions. Absence of any effective governance is clearly visible when public resources are divided to private ends, laws are not widely publicized and implemented properly, no honest data are available, while most of the NGOs and civil societies abstain from playing the role of watchdog. In fact, very unfortunately today, we see many of such NGOs or civil societies, they are opted by the government. Many so-called leaders are being used by government or powerful bureaucrats. So the only watchdog, which is supposed to be the body that can effectively check or even advise the government, are being paralyzed to the extent that they do not have any voice. In the backdrop of all this, where did the common people stand? In the context of our state, I dare say we can find three types of people, three class of people in the state today. The first category of people, they are the very naive people. The second one is the complicit citizen. And the third one is the spectators, those who choose to remain silent. So a large number of people in Nagaland today are very naive. We can call them very innocent. We can call them very ill-informed or often gullible, because this section of people do not realize what is right, what is their entitlement. Example, I just want to bring one example. MNJ and Riga, which is not from the state, but which comes directly from the center, where it tries to help the rural mass who are having who are from the rural, ensuring them 100 days of manual labor with payment. So after long exercise, now the center have come up with the modalities to send the money directly to their accounts. On receiving the money, those individuals will submit the money to the village council. Even to the extent of village council, the corruption has gone down. The second section of people are the complicit. They are part and parcel of the corrupt state apparatus. This section, regardless of the means, is looking for their own benefit, even at the cost of others. This section actively endorses nepotism and corruption in the state systems. We can remind ourselves if an officer is there from our own village, if he does not give development to the village, special packages development to the village, if he does not employ someone from our village, we will call him useless, anti-village. So we are compelling the only officer from our village to commit corruption in favor of us. This, whether in individual or community, when citizens voluntarily extend their compliance to the system, it only legitimizes the corrupt systems. The third category of people who are, whom I can call them that the silent spectators. They turn blind eye to all forms of corruption. This in itself can be misunderstood as an approval. When a lot of corruption, a lot of unfairness is going on, if you remain silent, it may take it as an approval. Many individuals, societies, including the church, the source of moral authority, choose to remain silent for the reason that they don't want to get involved in any of the scandalous issues, or maybe they think that others will do for them. We can understand, therefore, that transparency and accountability is not only for those who govern, but every citizen is accountable for whatever the end of the government produces. In the contemporary progressive society, the core elements of democratic governance is the social contract between the government and the citizens. A government must have the ability to produce good governance with all transparency and effectiveness in lieu of the legitimate endorsement of the support the government gets from its people. Even in the worldview and practices of the indigenous peoples, in fact, indigenous peoples have one of the most refined understanding of the covenants. For indigenous peoples, governance and covenant go hand in hand. So like many of the indigenous peoples around the world, the customary self-governance of the Nagas is based on the spirit of contract, where the ruler of the people are bound to each other by the reciprocal obligations. The rulers, those who are administering the villages, they are supposed to protect the village. They are supposed to give their integrity. They are supposed to do their best governance in terms of transparency and accountability. And in lieu of that, people are there to support. So there is an obligatory between the people who rule and the citizens. Coming from the contemporary worldview, public administration is no longer bureaucratic structure of command and control. It is all about relationship, partnership, in trust between the government and the citizens. It is not top-down, rather it is bottom-up. Because bottom-up give all the opportunity, all the scope for every talent within the state, within the country to be harnessed, resources and the capacities to be used in its maximum. The gradual shift from government to governance in the recent modern understanding has significant ramification both within the state and for the overall development. Good governance can secure citizens' well-being in sustained development, while poor governance erodes citizens' capabilities and capacities and weaken the institution's capacity and its effectiveness. We can see classic example in the Nagaland today. All the apex bodies, tribal apex body, it may be the students' body, it may be the human rights body or any civil bodies. They are all sick. The reason is that the government is also to a large extent using those leaders. So we can easily come to conclusion that when governance is not in the right track, the whole system, the whole agency attached to the governance will slide down, or rather you will get sick. In the recent years, e-governance is increasingly becoming emphasized towards good governance. The use of ICT tools can enhance effective public services, accessibility, transparency, and reliability. Both print and electronic media can be used to check and improve the governance of the state. We can draw some inferences from the global movement, for example, Arab Spring, 2010, 2016, which is considered to be one of the greatest social media movement of our time, where a girl from Tunisia, she started posting her protest against the Algerian regime, autocratic regime. She talked about democracy and fairness, which got spread in the whole of the Arab world, eventually changing the entire political landscape of the region. This is what electronic media can do. Social media, if we use them properly, social media can be used for change in public spheres, enabling citizens to effectively participate in influence state activities through public debates. 2022, the Arunachal Pradesh Public Service Commission, APPSC, was caught up in a very massive controversies over the recruitment, over the conduct of examination and recruitment in the Arunachal civil services. In this public movement, extensive use of social media, particularly Facebook and WhatsApp, it was not the gathering or protest of the people, but the social media protest in articulation have compelled government to do the inquiry on this scandal, eventually leading to suspension of many errant officers and resignation of the chairman of the commission. Citizens can engage in healthy debates, discussions, share opinion, and create awareness about various issues virtually. The penetration of the social media in the public spheres speak of its effectiveness in the modern society. This can also serve as an alternative to the citizens of Nagaland, as a tool to ensure transparency in the government, as well as a means for all citizens to participate in the democratic process of the government. Any reasonable person would agree that the present scenario in the state governing system urgently need a change. The idea of change has been one of the most debated topic globally, but has never been very easy. Thinkers, intellectuals, reformers have faced stiff challenges in opposition against change. A responsible citizen, however, it is time we own responsibility for the issue that concerns our society, that concerns our future, in not simply leaving it to others or to the state. Citizens' active and informed participation in the public issue would be the most effective entry point for better governance or for transparency in the governance. Thank you.